welcome to No Broken Legs. I am your host, Evan Belfiore. Week 2 of the NFL season posed many questions, and to help us find answers, Jimmy Champ is joining us on this lovely Friday night. Jimmy, how are you doing?
I'm good, little wired. Just got home from a high school football game where my daughter is a beautiful cheerleader, and hoping we can work through some of this and find some answers, because there was some weird stuff happening in the NFL, man.
Well, at least we had a little bit of sanity resumed when the Jets blew out the Patriots. I mean, taking the Jets in the under was probably the easiest money I'll make all year. What did you make of the game on Thursday?
Aaron Rodgers looked better, but still not good enough to make that team elite. And the Patriots might be in trouble.
Yeah, the Patriots are bad. Cincinnati's terrible in the first 2 weeks of the season, so let's not overblow their upset win. I'm sure New York media is going to love pimping Rodgers and the Jets for a week, but I still don't think this Jets team's very good.
No, like it was, we talked in the our preview show. I think the Jets have a lot of talent at a lot of the right spots, but I don't know if the quarterback's good enough, and I feel pretty confident that the coach is not good enough.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in Saleh either. Let's move on to the other New York team, because they're playing our Cleveland Browns this weekend on the lakefront. The Browns are 6.5-point favorites. Over-under sits at 38. Giants are plus 230 on the money line. The Browns are minus 285. I mean, they got a win last week, Jimmy. It doesn't look like the Jaguars are a very good football team, though.
No, I'm not sure how much better the Jaguars are than the Giants. I think the Browns will get a win, but I think it's still going to be ugly. I don't. Everybody's talking about a get-right game and just a look-great game for Deshaun and the offense, and I don't think that this offense has that in them, but I think the defense will do enough. I'm going to take the Giants to cover and the Browns to win.
I agree with that. I also like the under. The offense looked functional for about a drive and a half, and that was when they were doing the mostly under center Kevin Stefanski old-school scripted plays. And as soon as Cooper dropped that pass, they went back to looking pretty mediocre. A lot of problems moving the ball. They ran the ball okay. I don't know. Once they started doing the DePodesta, Dorsey type stuff where they were in shotgun a lot, the offense completely stagnated. And it looks like, for all the analytics that say 4-yard runs don't matter, it sure looked like the 4-yard runs mattered.
Yeah, and it just, it comes back to, we talk about how we can understand, like, the human element of it, but Deshaun Watson, who is still being paid to be an elite quarterback in the NFL, single-handedly tried to give that game away on the last drive.
Yeah, that I don't mind them calling a third down pass there to try to catch him sleeping, but that's the one situation where you can take a sack and it's fine. You just can't give them those 40-plus seconds. That was just a terrible play.
Yep, and I do like when here at No Broken Legs we explore things before it gets to our local media, where I felt in our Browns preview, I felt there was going to be a disconnect, and Amari Cooper was not going to be dialed in because of the human element, because of the way he was treated this offseason. And that is about all 92.3 could talk about here this last 24-hour cycle, that Amari needs a big game. And I agree, like, if there was one thing that the offense gets going Sunday, I would like it to be Amari Cooper. I think that's probably a necessary piece if this offense is really going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I think the Giants cover this is because I think Daniel Jones is going to give him a little trouble with his running ability. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot in the passing game, especially in Cleveland with that crowd. I think he's going to be mostly intimidated. The reason I think the Giants cover this is mostly because I don't think the Browns' offense is very good.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Up next, we have a former Brown, Baker Mayfield, leading the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Denver Broncos. The Buccaneers are 6-point favorites. Over-under sits at 41, minus 258 for the Bucs, plus 210 for Denver. Tampa keeps rolling behind Baker, and it doesn't look like Denver's very good. What do you think?
Yeah, Bo Nix threw a lot of passes last week. Not a lot of efficiency there. The offense in Denver just looks like it's stagnant. Defense isn't quite as good as it has been in years past. I got Tampa to cover and to win.
Yeah, maybe the game has passed Sean Payton by.
Yeah.
Much in the same way it looks like the game may be passing Doug Peterson by.
Yep.
If Bo Nix doesn't start throwing the ball downfield, that offense is never going to do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm actually going to be looking at maybe putting together a Bo Nix parlay to go along with my Gardner Minshew parlay that I'll be talking about later. That's 2 for 2. I mean, the over on his attempts seems to hit every week, and the under on his yards seems to also hit. So I'm going to be taking a closer look at that, and I'll see what's out there and see if I can put something together for it. If I might not, though, we'll see what's there. Next,
yeah, I would. Tampa is one of those teams that I will have in all of my money line parlays this week.
Up next, the 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers against the 2-0 LA Chargers, Jimmy. The Steelers are 3-point home favorites here. Over-under sits at 34.5, minus 155 for the Steelers, plus 130 for the Chargers. I just refuse to believe the Steelers are 3 points better than the Chargers even at home. I actually like the Chargers to win this outright, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this will be the first real test for Harbaugh going up against a good coach with a team that's going to kind of want to do the same thing you want to do. But I think on the offensive side of the ball, I just think the Chargers have enough talent that they'll be able to offset Pittsburgh's defense, probably the better unit in the game. But I just think the Chargers will be able to do just enough. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a push at 3.
Yeah.
But I like the Chargers to win this game.
And based on how much these teams run the ball, it's probably going to be a pretty quick afternoon in Pittsburgh, so I'll also be taking the under. This feels like a 17-14, if they even get that high type game.
Yeah.
Each team might only get 6 possessions.
If the Steelers were to win this game and Justin Fields looks mediocre or better, is it just his job? They're in such a weird spot.
I don't know. They're under no contractual obligation to play Russell Wilson. They're only paying him $1 million this year. It would just depend on how that locker room is, and that's something really only Tomlin knows. But I mean, whatever they do, Tomlin will probably make the right call.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Up next, we have the Houston Texans. They're 1.5-point favorites as they travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, who are fresh off a upset win over the San Francisco 49ers. The over-under sits at 46. Houston minus 122 on the money line. The Vikings plus 102. I don't know, Jimmy. No Justin Jefferson, and I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I still don't trust Sam Darnold. What say you?
Yeah, I kind of actually wish Jefferson was playing in this one to get the full picture. I mean, San Francisco was without some of their weapons. Kind of the surprise of the backup running back. You weren't able to pull that again. Everybody knew he was going to play. Minnesota seemed ready for it, seemed ready to go.
Couple bad picks from Purdy.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be ready for Houston, but Minnesota is one of the teams that I'm surprised they've played so well. So I'm very curious to see how they are, but I got Houston to cover and Houston to win.
Yeah, I like the over on this one too.
Yeah, there'll be points.
The most surprising team in the league is the New Orleans Saints, Jimmy. Just like we thought, 2-0 and dominating.
Yeah, we totally predicted it. Well, actually, we did predict it when we said we have no idea what the Saints are going to do.
Yeah, you should just go by the opposite of what I say. They are welcoming the Philadelphia Eagles, fresh off of gagging away a win on Monday night against the Falcons. The Eagles, like a week ago, the Eagles were 2-point favorites. Now they find themselves as 3-point underdogs. The over-under sits at 49.5, minus 148 on the Saints, plus 124 for the Eagles. I mean, New Orleans is going to fall off at some point, right, Jimmy?
I got them falling off in this game. I got Philly to cover and win outright. I still believe Philly is just too talented to lose this game. I think Philly's still going to be one of the better teams in the NFC, when push comes to shove. So I'm taking the Eagles here.
I'm taking the Saints in the over because Philly's
Wow.
defense is
I like the over. Yeah, the over's
Philly's
a good call.
defense is terrible. They can't
Yes.
stop the run. They can't stop the pass. Letting Cousins drive on you to win a night game is just inexcusable. And the fact that I like New Orleans in this game probably makes your Philly bet even better. Next up, we have a game. Could you play football without quarterbacks? Because the Tennessee Titans are hosting the Green Bay Packers, and the Tennessee are now 3-point favorites. 38.5 is the over/under. Minus 148 for the Titans. Plus 124 on Green Bay. I mean, I keep looking at this and thinking like, there's no way he can. Matt LaFleur can do that again, can he?
Yeah, I think he can. I think the Packers. I think the Packers have the better coach. I think schematically they're better. I think they will find a way to get this done. I'm going to take the Packers with the points and to win outright.
I actually totally agree with you. I like Green Bay. I like the under. I think there's going to be a lot of running from Green Bay, and they're going to dictate the pace. And I just don't think Will Levis is a good quarterback, which is kind of a shame because the rest of this Tennessee team seems like they're at least decent to pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was something we said coming in. Like, the Titans are one of the teams that built a really good roster around a quarterback question mark, and it doesn't seem like Levis is going to be the guy.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they would be better off with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Up next, we have the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Chicago Bears. The Colts are 1-point favorites. Over-under sits at 44. Minus 120 for Indy. Plus 100 for the Bears. Man, Caleb Williams struggling just like you thought he would, but that Chicago defense still looks pretty good. What are you expecting on this game, Jimmy?
Yeah, so I was impressed by how tough the Bears played Houston, mostly on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised by Caleb Williams. He's doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. I really felt he was overhyped, playing poor defenses most of his college career. That being said, I think he'll be able to put one drive together to go along with the defensive score. I think Chicago wins this game outright.
I do too. I actually might be betting on their defense or special teams to score a touchdown.
It's a good
love
bet.
the under here. I don't know where 44 is coming from.
No, it's not.
Chicago's not going to let Richardson get away with a couple of deep bombs, and it looks like they were already, I forget who Indy played last week, but they were already not allowing that shit last week.
Yeah.
Right now, though, Chicago just can't block anybody, so I don't even know if Caleb Williams is any good. I know he doesn't look good because he's constantly running for his life. So if Chicago doesn't get their shit together on the line, it's going to be a really long season for that entire team.
Yeah, I don't want to defend the line, but I will say you could see where there were plays where they called the short, quick pass, and Caleb just wouldn't let the ball go and ran into sacks.
That's fair.
So,
that's very
but
fair.
I don't think the Colts defense is nearly as good as the Texans.
Sounds a little bit like a quarterback we have here in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, we should know what it looks like. We see it enough.
Up next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, fresh off an upset win over Baltimore, hosting the Carolina Panthers. Wow. Vegas, 6-point favorites. Over-under sits at 40, minus 250 for the Raiders, plus 205 for the Panthers. Is this a letdown game, Jimmy?
No, I don't think. I just don't think Carolina has enough talent. I really don't. I think the offense will look a little better with Andy Dalton because he'll get the ball out, but I just think they're devoid of talent. I got the Raiders to win and cover.
I think Carolina wins this game.
What?
I think having a competent quarterback gives them a lift. I think they know that there's not a lot of games that they can win. And when you see Gardner Minshew on the other side, it gives you hope that you can win. I don't think Vegas is a very good team. And I mentioned it earlier, the Minshew parlay is 2 for 2. Over yards, at least one pick, and over attempts. I'm taking it again, going for 3 for 3. He is what he is, man. And I don't know. I know it's a long shot, but I think Carolina knows they're not a good football team, and I think they maybe pull out all the stops to win this weekend.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, that's my upset alert.
I like it. I like it. I don't trust it, but I like it.
I mean, I don't think Carolina's good, but they're going to win at least like 2 or 3 games. So this would
Are
be one of
they?
them.
Are they?
Well, they'll win 1 or 2.
Are they?
Okay, they'll at least win 1.
Are they?
Up next, we have the Seattle Seahawks hosting the Miami Dolphins. Seahawks 4.5-point favorites. Over under sits at 42. Seahawks minus 225. Dolphins plus 185. I mean, Skylar Thompson's going to start this game, right? Like, there's no way Tua plays.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll just, for the pod, we'll assume Skylar Thompson's playing. So, I mean, him on the road in that noisy building for Seattle, I'm all over the Seahawks, and I'll take the under. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I agree with that. I am hoping to get to watch some of this game, at least early, because I'm curious to see, like, schematically what the Dolphins look like with Skylar at quarterback.
Well, we've seen Skylar Thompson play in a playoff game for this team, and he was dreadful.
He was.
I just don't think you can schematically work around the fact that he doesn't look like he can throw a ball more than 10 yards.
But I feel like if there's an offense built for a quarterback that can only throw the ball 10 yards, it's this one.
That's fair. Up next, we have the San Francisco 49ers. They're traveling to L.A. to take on who's left of the L.A. Rams. The Niners are 6.5-point favorites. Over-under sits at 43. Minus 290 for the Niners. Plus 235 for the Rams. I just don't think the Rams have enough healthy bodies to compete with anybody right now. What say you?
Yeah, it frustrates me. It upsets me because healthy, I was really all in on the Rams again this year. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they could quite get Super Bowl bound, but I felt they could be playoff bound. And they're just so beat up in so many key spots. I think the Niners can even cover this easily, like without having to put forth a lot of effort. So I'm taking the Niners to cover and to win.
Yeah, I like the Niners in the over. I think this is a get-right game for San Francisco's offense. I think they put up quite a few points. If they can't win this game by a touchdown, though, it's definitely time to start worrying about a Super Bowl hangover. Purdy hasn't really looked that good. Granted, quarterback play across the league is down, but he definitely made some big mistakes in that game last week, and it'll be interesting to see if the pressure of, you know, he's playing for a contract this year, and he's trying to put up some big numbers to justify the hype that he's been getting. And if that's what he's trying to do, instead of just being a quarterback that runs the Shanahan offense, I think that team could be in a lot more trouble than we want to admit.
Yeah.
Up next, we have the Detroit Lions. They're coming off gagging away a win against Tampa last week. They're 3-point favorites traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals, who just put a whooping on the depleted Rams. Over-under sits at 51.5, minus 148 for the Lions, plus 124 for Arizona. What are you expecting out of this game, Jimmy?
This is one of the games that I really am going to have on one of the TVs because I want to learn about both of these teams. I was really shocked. I never thought Detroit could cover that spread against Tampa last week.
Yeah,
but I was shocked they lost the way they did. I felt like Dan Campbell decided it was a quarterback duel, and you're not going to win quarterback duels with Jared Goff. Sorry, Dan Campbell. I've been telling you this all along.
Yeah,
you should listen to No Broken Legs so you know your team better.
He had classic golf turnovers.
Yeah, you're not going to win with Jared Goff throwing the ball 50 times. So I'm curious to see if they get back to more running, but I'm also curious to see if they can slow down the Cardinals' passing attack. So I'm very interested about this game. I'm going to take Arizona just because I'm going recency bias from what I saw of both of these teams last. The Cardinals looked good, and the Lions, that was a really, really bad fourth quarter. So I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I'm going to go the other way. I like Detroit, and I also like the under because I think Detroit's just going to run it right down Arizona's throat. I think they want to keep that D line fresh so that they can just go after Kyler, and I think Kyler's going to be under pressure all day, and he's going to really struggle.
Yeah, I mean we know that's the recipe for stopping Kyler. So, like I said, for me, with the exception, the under, I really do like that thought of the under. For me, this is a stay away just because I really don't feel like I know what's going to happen. But this is one of the games I'm most excited about this weekend.
Yeah, if Arizona plays tough in this
Yeah.
game, I'll have to reassess what I think of them. But I
Yeah,
think
and
I think
especially like
Hutchinson's Defensive Player of the Year campaign
yeah,
gets another big
absolutely.
boost this week because I think he's going to get a sack or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is the next two are the games of the week.
Yeah.
Definitely two very desperate teams. The Baltimore Ravens at 0-2 traveling to Dallas to take on the 1-1 Cowboys coming off just an absolute drubbing by the Saints. Over under sits at 47.5. Minus 105 for the Cowboys, minus 115 for Baltimore. Jimmy, this is both these teams really need a win here.
Yeah. For me this game is a stay away because I just don't know what to expect. For the purpose of our podcast, I'm taking Baltimore simply because I think they have the better coach in the game.
I'm taking Baltimore and the over. I think there's going to be points in this game.
Okay.
I think Lamar is going to end up having to run a lot because I'm not sure Baltimore can move the ball unless he's running, and they have to have a win this week. So
Yeah,
I
no, I
think
agree.
that ends up being the difference. I think this is a close game, but I think Dallas comes up short at the end. So I like Baltimore to get the win. Plus, Baltimore during the Lamar era just seems to do really well against NFC teams because they only see him once every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, we see Baltimore do this all the time. They lose double digit leads in the fourth quarter to teams. It's basically the only way they lose.
Yeah. The one thing I would say for Dallas is Dallas has some freak athletes on the defensive side of the ball who may be able to match up with Lamar a little bit, but I agree. I agree with what you said. But I mean, Dallas is going to be interesting to see like how they recover from that drubbing.
Yeah,
like
that was an embarrassment.
like it was. It'll be interesting to see what they look like.
Up next, we have the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Atlanta, a really nice win against Philly in a comeback fashion. Kansas City, same thing against Cincinnati. The Chiefs are only 3-point favorites here. 46.5 is the over-under, minus 162 for the Chiefs, plus 136 for Atlanta. Jimmy, KC and Mahomes in a dome. Even without Pacheco, I like the Chiefs to put up a lot of points here.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to see the offense get a little bit more on track this week. I don't know if you even really try to get Kareem Hunt in the game. I don't know what that looks like, but I think the Chiefs will be fine. I got the Chiefs to cover, Chiefs to win.
Yeah, I like the over in this game too because I think Atlanta is going to be able to put some points on the board too. And
yeah,
we've seen it now 2 weeks in a row. Kansas City's gotten some explosive plays. The question is, in the dome, how many of those are they going to get? I think they're going to get 2 explosive plays, if not 3.
Yeah.
Our next game, the Sunday night affair, sees the Buffalo Bills hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bills are 5-point favorites. Over-under sits at 45.5. Minus 230 for the Bills, plus 190 for the Jags. Man, does Jacksonville look like a team in complete disarray.
Yeah, and, I would not have expected to be able to say, like, part of the reason they look bad is because Trevor Lawrence play.
I mean, they're another one. That line is that they couldn't block Cleveland at all last week, and I'm not sure if that was Cleveland's defensive line finally showing, having their good game, or if Jacksonville's just bad up front.
Yeah, this should, I think when this schedule came out, this felt like this could be, a really important game, but I think Buffalo is just going to freaking put it on Jacksonville. I like everything Buffalo with and over here, man. I think Buffalo is possibly going to lead Doug Peterson to being the first coach getting fired this year.
We talk about it almost every week on the pod about how much the league has changed in the last few years. Peterson doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, and that team seems to be following that leadership. I like Buffalo to win here. I'm not confident about the 5. And the only reason I'm not confident about the 5 is because I think this Jacksonville team's going to come out really, really desperate. I'll definitely be taking them on the money line, but this is also the type of game where, Josh Allen looked pretty good last week. The roller coaster Josh, man. This could be the week he has like 3 turnovers and just tries to gag a game away. So just be careful. That's my That's my advice to everybody out there on this Buffalo-Jacksonville game, because everything screams Buffalo's going to absolutely crush them.
Right. That's true. That is true.
Which is also true of our next game, the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Washington Armada. The Bengals are 7-point favorites. Over-under sits at 47, minus 325 for the Bengals, plus 260 for Washington. And, I mean, Washington just doesn't look like they're a very good team. And I'm just, I don't know, man. I'm just glad Cincy's playing on Monday night so they can't ruin any of my Sunday parlays.
I hear you there. I think Washington is going to be just good enough to be competitive most of the year. I don't see. I mean, we question our biggest bookmakers sometimes, and I'm questioning them here. I don't know what the goal was of putting Cincinnati +7 or Cincinnati -7. Excuse me. I don't know how Cincinnati can be a touchdown better than any team in the NFL right now. I'm going to take the Armada to cover and Cincinnati to win by like a field goal.
Yeah, I'll take Cincinnati because it does feel like they're ready to blow up now that it's not the first 2 weeks of the season. Yeah. I don't like it. I do think they get a win because they need a win. I don't know. We'll see what Jamar Chase looks like if T. Higgins isn't back in the lineup. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe we're looking at a team where Mike Brown's traditional cheapness is really causing problems in that locker room.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible.
That's it. That's the Sunday slate, man. Like we said, a lot of questions. We'll get a lot of answers on Sunday, or, we'll continue being surprised. The thing that really stood out to me is what we saw last week in week 2 is typically what we see in week like 4 or 5. Usually we get 3-4 weeks where everything's like, okay, that's what I thought was going to happen before the league tips upside down. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. What do you think's going on with the defense? Is it just a slow start for the quarterbacks, or have defenses really just regained the upper hand?
I think there's a little bit of the defense, but I think this is just more of now you've got 2 regular season games to start the year that are more like preseason games that count. That's just, like, I don't think there's any coach on the planet who's actually good enough to simulate real NFL speed in practice. I just don't think you can do it. And, I mean, no team really played their starters a ton. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes played a couple series. There are some teams like Cleveland who didn't play their starters any and looked
most teams
really
don't
bad.
Even play any.
Yeah, and I think that's just what it is. I think, and you could even see it still this week, where offenses are still trying to figure out exactly what they are and what they look like. And then I think here in the next couple of weeks, I think you'll see the quarterbacks start to take advantage a little bit. But we've been talking about it for 2 years. The defenses are right there, ready to kind of take the game back over. And I mean, the way to help the passing game get back on track is to run the football. And I think you're going to see teams starting to do more of that. So for you, I'm going to take for granted that Cleveland wins.
Okay.
Does Deshaun Watson just need to look like he looked on that first drive for the whole game to give you any kind of confidence in the offense?
And honestly, the Browns could be 3-1 and blow out New York and Washington, and I'll still think they're a mediocre team.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way.
I don't think either the Giants or the Armada are any good.
I don't think they're going to blow either of them out. I think they're both going to end up being close games.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said earlier, when they were running the Stefanski type stuff and Watson was under center a little bit, it looked like they were keeping the defense off balance. But as soon as they went to the D. Podesta, Dorsey shotgun, throwing the ball all over the place, everything just started falling apart. But even when they were moving the ball, there were still, 4 or 5 50-50 plays that, to Watson's credit, he made them. But I don't trust that he's going to make those every week. It just looked like it was really, really difficult for them to get third downs. Because, I mean, And it's not just the fact that they've been awful on third down 2 weeks in a row. 12 penalties in each of these games, Jimmy.
Yeah, most penalized team in the league.
Like, you just can't have that. And it's
No.
and it's not even that it's the pre-snap penalties. Like, those things
Yep.
kill you. Every week we see it now. And they've got to clean that shit up because, I mean, the Giants are going to be desperate for a win. I don't think they're good, but they're going to be desperate. They're at least going to come out in that first quarter and try and punch Cleveland in the mouth. Cleveland's, to their credit, they typically, when they do the scripted Stefanski drives, they score. But, can the Browns blow anybody out? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
don't think so. Like, I mean, it's just so weird. Like Deshaun doesn't even seem to be able to just tuck the football and run. Like, it's really weird. Like, he just keeps stumbling. I mean, it's just, I'm just very concerned about the offense, and I don't know what kind of impact Nick Chubb will be able to have to make me believe that this is a team that, when they get to that tough part of the schedule, is going to be able to stack any wins.
Yeah, that's the problem for the Browns, is that when Nick Chubb comes back is when they start playing teams that are a lot better than the teams they're playing now.
Yep.
Well, there it is, week 3. We'll see what happens and continue making adjustments here early in the season and figure out what's noise and what's actual truth.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for joining me tonight, Jimmy.
No place I'd rather be, brother.
And I want to thank all of you for listening. Please drop us a like or subscribe and listen to us every week. For Jimmy Champ, I am Evan Belfiore. Thank you for listening to No Broken Legs.